Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanastu.
We have been seeing day after day some glimpses of Bhagwan's life, some stories of his glory, some stories of his Nama's glory. Yesterday, somebody asked me what it is to be an instrument in the hands of God. So we saw it as much as we could in the limited time. And today, he asked me again to explain it a little more detail. In our childhood, I'm sure all of us, without exception, would have seen the puppet show. As children, we quite enjoyed it. There would be hero, heroine, the sub-characters, the villain definitely, and a happy end. And as a child, I thought it was also real, that the puppets came alive and they were acting out the characters because they were so alive. I thought they really lived. So sometimes I cried when the heroine cried, and I was happy when she was happy. This is something that all of us have gone through. But it's much later, somebody pointed out that they were only dolls, puppets. They were being pulled by the strings, and the string pullers were up there, unseen by people. Every time the hero had to act out, it is the string pulling behind it. Every time the hero spoke something admirable, it's a string pulling behind. There was somebody there, up there, speaking the dialogues and pulling the strings simultaneously. So the sole reality of the puppet show came as a shock to me. Here I was very happy with the fancy world, where the characters were true to me. Now, later, this helped me to understand the life as it is, as we see around.
Sorry. I cannot see.
So here, we see that the Supreme God seated inside all of us, he is actually a dense point, a point of consciousness. There is no form there. It's a point of consciousness. He's right in the middle of our Jivatma, the soul, the individual soul, which gives you the identity with the body. Right in the middle of this individual soul is seated the universal soul, the universal consciousness, whom we call Ishvara. Ishvara or Ishvari. It is running the whole show. When it is running the whole cosmos with its infinite details, what are you in it? A speck? a small particle. Now, this Paramatman, who has put the breath in the first place, he is the string puller, and your body is the doll. Your body is the puppet. The divine puppeteer, seated inside, he pulls the strings. His pulling the string is called breathing. There is the in-breath and the out-breath. He pulls the string of in-breath and then the out-breath. Up and down, up and down, up and down. He is pulling the strings. Immediately the puppet that you are come alive. Your brain starts working. Your eyes begin to see, ears begin to hear. You begin to move about. You start planning for the day, planning for your entire life, planning how to earn money, sometimes in crooked ways, how to make your life as comfortable as possible. All this planning and execution follow. It's because the divine puppeteer seated inside is pulling the strings of your breath. Suppose after one pulling, he leaves the string, then the breath doesn't come back inside. And then they declare you as dead. So this divine puppeteer, the machine operator, is operating all the time. You are in breath and out breath. So there is life in the body and there is identity. You are a woman or a man. You are so and so. You have a position in the society. You are a husband with children. You are a son to your parents. And you have a role to play in the society also. All this role play is possible because the divine is pulling the strings of your breath. Now this throws more light on the role of the puppet. So you see, this is how we are being operated by the divine operator, completely through the breath. So now we know that this is nothing but a puppet in his hands. Scientifically also they have proved that the thoughts come to you half a second before, the recognition of a thought comes half a second later, which means you become conscious of the thought patterns only after they appear, after the neurons of the brain arrange themselves in a certain pattern. Then a thought comes and then your brain recognizes the thought. It's not as though you are thinking. The thoughts flow. Your brain merely recognizes them. This is the find of the scientists. So how can we ever claim thinking as my thinking? My brain merely recognizes the thoughts, be it evil or good. They are being pushed into our consciousness. We become conscious of them. And those thoughts will be according to the role play. The role that you are meant to play in this society, in this life, with the chosen people around. And who is playing this? The divine. It is the divine that is pulling the string of your breaths. It is the divine that is playing the role of yours. So everyone is being activated by the divine. Everybody's role play is being done by the divine inside, the divine puppeteer. That is why when somebody throws abuse at you, you can be sure it is he who is throwing this abuse to himself in you. Neither the other person nor you are involved. It is from him to himself. If you see this truth clearly, there is no offense, there is no hurt. If somebody praises you, it's once again he praising through that identity himself in you, in your identity. It is from him to himself. So where is the question of being flattered or jumping in joy? He is doing it to himself. Sometimes, our own teeth, the tongue gets in between and the teeth will bite into the tongue unexpectedly. It pains, but the minute you know that you have done it to yourself, immediately there is no offense. Somehow your mind gets reconciled. Even the pain is not much. Haven't we all experienced this? Biting the tongue accidentally. Like this, if you think that it is the one being, the universal being, playing the role of everyone, playing the role of an ant, playing the role of a worm, playing the role of a tree, the role of a plant, a creeper, the role of fire, the role of air, the role of the stone, the role of everything, everyone that you see around. It's one man show. From eternity to eternity, this one man show is being staged on the world. Here the hero is he, the villain is he, all the sub-characters are he, the costumes are he, the dialogues are his dialogues. All the sub-characters, he is playing them. The stage is he. And all the assistants in the drama, they are he himself. And finally, it is he, the audience. It is for his delight. This drama is being staged. There is no one else. Ramana Maharishi says, there is only the self. There are no others. Yogi Ramsuratkumar says, my Father alone exists. There is nothing else, no one else. Papa Ramdas says, Naam has become everyone, everything. Ram alone is. So you see, there is only Ekavastu, the one being. And the one being, for some reason, they say it is for its own delight. Nobody goes into that aspect because nobody can get to understand unless we reach that stage. All the Upanishads say, the Vedas say, it is for his own delight. It's a sport for him. It's a leela for him. The entire cosmos, with its acute pain, violence, all the sufferings, agonies, it is supposed to be the sport to God. Why? Because he is suffering, you are not suffering. He alone has become you, he is playing your role. So the you are only an instrument in his hands. All of us. He plays the role of an ant. all the time thinking where the sweet is, and he moves slowly forward to that. He plays the role of a worm and wriggles on the earth helplessly, getting crushed by somebody's foot. It is he who sways in the form of the trees, the plants, the creepers, and it is again he who is the air. It is he who has become the ocean, and all the creatures harbored by the ocean. It is he who is immobile as a mountain, and it is he who controls the whole universe. Afraid of him, the sun comes promptly, it appears in the east promptly. The moon appears in the night. Afraid of him, all the laws of the cosmos are maintained. Afraid of him, the planets keep to their positions. They don't fall down. Afraid of him, the galaxies keep on rolling. And who is him? Who is he? The pure awareness which is aware of only itself. There is nothing else to be aware of. Your own consciousness. In your consciousness, the thoughts are racing all the time, so you are busy with the thoughts. You forget that you are becoming conscious of the thoughts. It is in your consciousness the thoughts occur. You pay attention to the thoughts. You're so busy, you become busy with your thoughts. Oh, this thought, that thought. The thoughts torture you. The thoughts give you overwhelming joy at times. The thoughts give you fear. You tremble. The thoughts give you anger, ferocious, that you feel like killing somebody. But remember, they are thoughts, they are thought patterns. Your brain merely recognizes them for what they are. But in truth, once these thoughts go away, what remains is your consciousness, and there is nothing else to be conscious of. There are no thoughts. Then your consciousness is conscious of its own consciousness. There is nothing else to be conscious of. It's like an empty room. The minute you enter a room, you get occupied with all the things there. You're drawn to the things. You're attracted to the things. You're very busy with the things. But once the things are removed, and that is when you begin to have a good look at the room. Similarly, you have this consciousness which is pure by itself. By the maya of the Supreme, thoughts occur like the waves on the surface of the ocean. A thought comes, a neuron pattern, a thought appears, and then disintegrates and goes away. Another thought. In succession, thought after thought after thought. And you call it your thought. The thoughts become words, and you call it your words. And the words become actions. You think that you have acted. But in truth, even the simple logic tells you that the Supreme seated inside you is pulling the strings of your breath all the time. So your body is alive, you feel lightweight, and your brain works, and then you plan and plan and plan. And there is joy and sorrow, disappointment, unexpected surprises, delights. and reaction, because you think that you are acting and you are reacting. It's all because of wrong identification. So the original sin is this identification, false identification with the body. If you know the truth, that it is he inside, you cannot even call him he, you cannot say it is he or she, and that is why the Upanishads say it is it. Consciousness, how can you call consciousness a female or a male or a boy or an old man? It is pure consciousness. That's why God doesn't fall into any definition. God is nothing but your own consciousness, unlimited, with extraordinary powers. This consciousness knows everything about life, every detail of the cosmos. This is an intelligent consciousness, the supreme intelligence. In this consciousness, a thought came, oh, let there be light. And then the light came. He said, let me create. And galaxies rolled out. You have no idea what a galaxy is. We know only one star, and that is the sun. There are other stars, specks in the night sky, several thousand light years away. You cannot even imagine the distance. Unbelievable. The whole structure of the cosmos, the infinite details, the discipline, the harmony, the order. The ocean keeps to the shore. It doesn't cross it into the town. How is it possible? Such a vast and deep ocean. It never crosses that limit, except on rare few occasions when it is meant to happen. That is why all our lives are predetermined. There is somebody up there writing out what you have to go through in your life from moment to moment to moment. Preordained. Ramana Maharishi says in one place, even your lifting of the little finger is preordained. So this is the whole picture. Whatever you can make of this, try and understand, because this gives you the whole view. This consciousness is in everything, in everyone. It permeates the entire cosmos. It permeates your inside and outside. So it is present even in a stone. The stone is conscious. Then why is it not conscious when you walk over it? If 1 million people should walk over a stone, the stone will still be ignorant. It would not be conscious of this 1 million people who are walking over it, because the consciousness is sleeping inside. Our consciousness is half awake, so limited, but part of it is still in sleep. And that is why when you stand before the shrine early in the morning, you sing the song of wakefulness. You wake up. The deity in the shrine, the deity is ever wakeful. There is no need for it to go to sleep or wake up, because it's consciousness. Consciousness is ever conscious. So this waking up song is only for the consciousness that is sleeping inside you. You have to awaken the Spirit of God inside you so that you could go to the lofty levels and finally become free of all thoughts and remain as your original identity, that is as pure awareness. This pure awareness is what we call Parabrahman. When it starts creating, it's called Brahma. When it starts sustaining the world, it's called Mahavishnu. When it does the job of destruction, it's called Rudra. It is the one divine playing different roles with different names and different forms. So this must give you a clear idea of how we are only puppets in the hands of the divine puppeteer who is not outside, who is right inside you. He is right inside every creature. That is why this I is the same in all creatures of creation. So today, this throws a little more light on why and how we have to consider ourselves as mere instruments in the hands of the divine. As long as you connect with God, then the virtues begin to play. As long as you remain connected with Maya, then the illusory world attracts you. You go after all the glitters of the world. And in so doing, you begin to think that this world is real. And then, in attaining what you want, there would be blocks. And you suffer when you don't get it. You feel disappointed, you feel cheated, you feel like death, and there is constant tension and depression, that you feel like suicide. All this because you have gone after illusory things of the world. Why are they illusory? Because they are manifestations. It's like the waves. The ocean manifests as waves, and then the waves will rise and then die. They last only for a moment or two, and then they subside into the ocean. So everything that manifests has a beginning and an end. And anything that has a beginning and an end is called Maya. Anything that keeps on changing even while it lasts is Maya. So we have to pray to Bhagwan all the time. Bhagwan, please make us an instrument in your hands. Let us not be lured by the Maya of the world, so that we do the right things at the right time and make this life fruitful. We don't have to copy anybody in anything. I remember once Bhagwan was seated in the in the temple, Arunachaleshwara temple. He was seated opposite to the Nandi, near this 1,000-pillar mandap. A couple came, they prostrated before him. Bhagwan blessed them nicely, and then he left them. They should have gone away immediately, but instead they chose to stand there at a distance and began to observe. Soon after, another couple came, and they had brought the bananas, a dozen bananas, a bunch of bananas, and they offered it at Bhagwan's feet and then prostrated. Gajaraji was with him at the time. Bhagwan immediately gestured to Gajaraji to take that bananas and put them inside the bag. That couple, the husband and wife, were observing, and immediately they disappeared from the place. Soon after, they too brought a bunch of bananas. They came straight and submitted at the feet of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan became red with anger. Immediately, he just took the bananas in the hand and asked them to go away and started to throw one by one by one. He detached each banana. He just threw it in different directions. People, you can imagine it was a terror. They were terrified. People were terrified. Nobody dared even pick up. He got so angry because these people, they had no idea. They had already come to him and he had blessed them. He had given them what they needed. If they made any move that was not acceptable to him, they would be spoiling the blessings they already received from him. But they wanted to imitate because they thought this is illusion. They thought, okay, if we take bananas, Swami would accept them, then our karmas will go, our papas, our sins will go. They had no idea, just coming to him was enough. That his grace did not depend upon the bananas. Everything happened. He never wanted people to imitate others. It wouldn't suit them. But even in his anger, even as he was throwing out each banana in different direction, he said to Gajaraji, even this beggar's anger is a blessing to them. Because from God, only blessings can come. Whatever he does can only be a blessing, a definite blessing at that. There's another quality about the Supreme Being. When Gajaraji had a photo of Bhagwan given by him in Sanaji Street House, which he had put in his puja room. One day, some friend had come, and as soon as this friend saw Bhagwan's photograph, he said, "Oh, I know this man." Then he mentioned E Road, and then the Sangameshwar. He said, "Oh, this man, I have found him seated under a tree, often near Sangameshwar." Gajaraji said, No, Swami never went out of Tiruvannamalai. It should have been someone else. But this man said, "No, I know very well. It was he who was seated there day after day after day for some time." So after that, Gajaraji came back and told Bhagwan, "This man says that you have been to Sangameshwar." Then Bhagwan shook his head. "No." And then Bhagwan said, "This beggar's form, this beggar's physical body never left Tiruvannamalai. But then, the one who is seated in this beggar's form inside, he can manifest himself in 1,000,000 places at a time. It's not the physical body. It is the occupant of this body, the divine occupant. the Supreme Divine inside my Father. He can appear in 1,000,000 places at a time if there is a need for it. So you see, the body is limited. Bhagwan said at the end, this beggar can do much better work without this body. And that's what we experience now. Ramana Maharishi says that once when he was seated there, he never left Ramana Ashram. There was this devotee who was in Tiruvannamalai in Chennai. When he was there in the temple, and something was happening to him, some deep experience where he needed the help of his guru, Ramana Maharishi. Suddenly Ramana came there and set it right for him. And later, when it was reported to Ramana Maharishi, he said, this body never left this place. And then he said, each one's language is different. Ramana Maharishi said, the divine is like a mirror. Any help is needed from the divine, there is an automatic response. When you stand, whichever object is held before a mirror, only that is reflected. Like that, the Parabrahman, the pure awareness is like a mirror. Any thought, any form, any name, any problem invokes an automatic response from that. So Ramana Maharishi presented himself at Tiruvannamalai. He said it's an automatic response from the divine. It did not mean that he physically went there. This is what Bhagwan was saying. If 1,000,000 people should call out to this beggar at a time, this beggar would be present in 1,000,000 places at a time. It does not mean that this physical body would go there. So, now this Bhagwan is here, seated in front of us. Not seated, standing, ever wakeful, ever alert, ever ready to pour his blessings upon us if only should approach him. We shall submit our today's prayers at his feet. Bhagwan, you are the cosmic controller. You alone can control the cosmos. If you can appear in 1,000,000 places at a time, what can you not do? We beg you again and again and again, 1,000,000 times, soulfully, intensely, for your immediate divine intervention to free this entire world from the clutches of this dreadful virus and bring back normalcy, a normalcy based upon dharmic values everywhere in the world. And Bhagwan, remove this panic from the hearts of people, stop the spread of the disease, enter the vaccine and kill this virus once for all. And please protect all those great people who are laboring hard day and night, fighting the disease in order to save other lives. And the economy needs a boost very badly. We beg you for that also. And above all, let us have the knowledge that we are not the body, that we are only instruments in your hands, and you are the divine puppeteer, working upon our in-breath and out-breath, pulling the strings of our breath, activating the brain, the eyes, every part of the body. And you are playing our roles in our lives. And Bhagwan, since you have put the Maya that we are the body, we cannot help thinking that I am thinking, I am acting. So let us practice the bhava that we are only instruments in your hands and that you are activating us from inside. Or else, let us keep offering all our actions at His feet all the time with gratitude. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.